today I'll be changing the manual transmission fluid on the RX7. I'm going to be using Ford Motorcraft fully synthetic manual transmission fluid, which is called XT-M5QS. After doing a bunch of research from people in the Miata community and the RX7 community, everyone says this feels the best, it handles cold startup, shifting the best, and it's not super notchy, so trusting the many people I've read online talk about it and bought it. So I'll have a link to this in the description if you want to buy it yourself and try it. I know a lot of people use MTL and like MT90, and everyone who has used that and went to this has said it's a lot better than the Redline stuff. So got the car here, I'm gonna jack it up, get underneath it, remove the 2 drain plugs on the RX7 transmission, make sure I can undo the fill plug first, because if I drain it and I can't fill it, then that's bad. Okay, got the car up on all 4 jack stands. You'll be easily able to tell where the jack points are in the pinch weld because it's like thicker. So here, if you can't figure it out, get the manual, but it's a thicker part of the pinch weld than the rest. Is where you want to jack up from. Give the car a little shake. Make sure it's good. If I had wheels off, I usually put wheels underneath too because I'm paranoid, but I don't have wheels. So at least for the 13B REW FDRX7, it takes 2.6 quarts of transmission fluid. So there's 2 plugs. I'll try my best to show you where those are at. The second plug has to be sealed with a sealant and then screwed back in. The first one does not need sealant. And there's only 1 drain hole. So I'll go ahead and scoot underneath here and do my best to show you. So, you see I got quite a bit of little oil on the bottom of my plate, but this here is like a transmission cover plate that covers up the bottom of the transmission of the car. So you're going to want to go ahead and remove 4 of these bolts on here. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead and remove those. These are just 10 millimeters. Maybe I can find out where my little oil leak is coming from. That'd be great. I hope it's not from the rear of the engine. We'll find out. Very gross. I'll have to, I'll probably have to remove that and check out that oil, where it's coming from. So this is drain number 1, doesn't require sealant. Drain number 2 does require sealant, and then your fill port. So, yep, that's how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and get some sockets, get a pan, and start draining these. Okay, the big drain bolt is a 24 millimeter. So if you don't have that, you can go get one. For some reason I have one. The bottom drain here that takes the sealant, you just use a crescent wrench in the fill one, you use a crescent wrench too. Remember, always undo your fill port before you do your drains, because you don't want to be stuck with the empty transmission. I'm going to try and do this without getting absolute. I should be wearing gloves now that I think about it, but too far into it, I'm not going to go put gloves on. So I'll let that first one drain. If you look on the end of your plug, you'll probably have a little bit of metal shavings. A little bit is fine. This has a magnet on it, so it'll collect whatever runs through the pan. So while that drains, I'm going to go wipe this off. Okay, now that the main giant big boy is pretty much drained, gonna undo this secondary drain. Go over a little bit. It's kind of annoying with the crescent wrench, but I'm sure you can get like a square drive or something. So this also has a magnet on the end of it, I believe. And so the small one, just wipe the magnet off. Clean up the threads from any past sealant and wipe the magnet off for the smaller plug. Now that those are still draining, I'm just going to remove the fill plug the rest of the way. So there's your fill plug. Square drive. Just use a crescent wrench. They put some sealant on this too. You don't really need to put sealant on this one from what I've read. So I'm just going to clean this plug up and continue with this, just drip as much as I can. So for sealant, this is what I'm going to use. It's called 3-Bond. I'll put a link to this in the description. It's a short little tube. It's like a caulk tube. My friends at Higher Ground Performance who rebuild EJs like every day, this is what they use. They said, I asked him, like, what would you use for sealant? And he was like, well, what are you using? And I said, well, I would use Permatex Gray. He's like, don't use that. They use this stuff right here, and he said it's literally like the best thing that's ever made for like an RTV silicone type of gasket maker. So if you want to use this, I'll put a link in the description where you can buy it, but apparently this is like gold, so check it out. Now that it's drained as much as it can, I'm going to put a little 3-Bond sealant on this bottom smaller plug, just a little bit. I'll spread it around my finger on the threads. So, there we go. A little bit of 3-Bond in there. Go screw this guy in. I don't put it on the starting threads. Put it right on the middle and use my finger to flatten it. And then I'll put the torque specs here for you people who want the torque specs, but I'm gonna tighten it to what I think is appropriate. We take our 24 millimeter, crook it in here. Don't tighten it too much. This is aluminum. Got my Ford transmission fluid. Link in the description if you want to try it. I'm gonna put 2.6 quarts in here. So what I'm gonna do is I have a hose line going into this bottle, goes all the way down, this here, and I have a little hole here. That's for me to put an air compressor into and compress this bottle to pressurize and send it out through this hose, because squeezing it any other way sucks. So I'm gonna try this out. It's the first time I've ever done it. Let's see if it works. Hope this works, because it's gonna suck if it doesn't. There you go. Yep, that's working. Perfect. It's 1 quart. Quart's number 2. Okay. Little hose in there. Start pressurizing it. A little scary how bloated this bottle gets. 2 quarts. Now we need to put it in 0.6. Okay, we're on our 3rd and final bottle. Technically you need 0.6 quarts, which is 19.2 ounces. They don't measure quarts in these bottles, it goes by ounces and milliliters. So you need 12.8 ounces left in the bottle. And yeah. Someone check that math, I guess. Okay. It's coming out. Oh gosh. Yeah, big mess. That's the one problem if you're just using compressed air. You can't just stop it without pulling out the air source. So, a little bit of a mess, but that's alright. So, using compressed air, first time, just be careful. Okay. While we're here watching the drip drain show, I'll tell you the tightening torques and I'll put them on the screen for you. Big guy right here, 24 millimeter, he is going to be at 29 to 42 foot-pounds. It's quite the variation there. Our little guy right here, he's going to be at 16 to 23 foot-pounds. And then, let's see, our fill. The fill plug here is 19 to 28 foot-pounds. Oh my god, the mosquitoes. 28 foot-pounds on the fill plug. So, those are your numbers. Maybe I'll do them just to please everyone. Never mind, I've gone and realized I can't tighten these ones to torque because they're a square drive and I don't have anything for that. I mean, that's tight. Here's a little tip for your caulk gun tubes. Always leave a little tail out so it dries up and you can just pull it off and reuse it again. So, you know, when it's expensive, don't waste it. I say it's just about good to seal up. Dripped out after my mistake of putting way too much in there. Try and clean those threads out as much as I can with my finger, but... Okay guys, it's a lot later. It's only like 7:50 though, so in Florida it's like midnight at 7:50, which sucks. But I got all the fluid changed. I cleaned the under panel that I had, the little transmission cover. Got that all cleaned up. I didn't record that. It was just me scrubbing an aluminum panel. But so going over, you know, 24 millimeter for the main bottom plug, crescent wrench for the others. Make sure you put sealant on that bottom square drive plug, the drain plug. I have links to everything in the description, so you can go buy it. But that's it. I'm going to go drive it and see how it feels. And I'll report back my findings. I'll maybe drive it for like a week or so and do another video with the oil in the title of the video, just discussing how different it feels. I don't know what was in this before, so I can't really compare to what it was like in the product. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helped you figure out a new oil or how to change this oil in the transmission or the fluid oil, whatever. You know, first time doing it on this car, I had no idea, so hopefully this helps some other people. So see you later. Okay, so I went out, I took a really quick drive in the car. Just initial impressions are, it is a bit smoother than whatever was in there. I would have a little issue getting the gear sometimes, or just being like super notchy. And a lot of that is gone with the Ford transmission fluid. So I think it's just gonna be better overall. Sometimes I would have a problem getting into reverse, like I would have to go into third and then go into reverse. And I didn't have that problem at all, so I got into reverse just fine. All gears entered just fine, even under like, you know, red line, everything was fine. So I'll still make an update video later on, just to see how it is, you know, a couple months from now, or a month or so, whatever. One more thing I need to mention. When you do this, when you change your transmission fluid, you should also change the fluid in the shifter turret. So the shifter turret is where your actual, like, you know, shift stick sits in the transmission, where you shift it. You want to take your trim off and go ahead and change out that fluid that's in there too, because that fluid is separate from what's in the transmission. So go get a syringe, suck it out, and then put new stuff in. Also inspect your shifting assembly and like the little cup on the bottom of the shifter to make sure it's super tight. If your shifter's super loose, the little cup, I can't remember, it's like a bushing. The bushing's probably either broken or gone, and you can just get a replacement online. You can get like a Delrin one or a metal one if you want. But I forgot to show that and do that in this video. So if you're doing this, also change out the turret fluid. And I'll put a little section in the video up here that shows you exactly how to do that. and how much you need to put in. So go ahead and pause the video and look at that and do that. And I think that's the end of this video. It's super late. I've been eaten by mosquitoes. I'm hungry. I didn't eat yet. But yeah, that's it. So see you guys later. Hopefully more RX7 and Subaru videos in the future. If you want to see any GR86 videos from like Tommy or R32 Volkswagen videos from my friend Kyle, let me know. Say what you're interested in seeing and probably make it. Okay, see you guys. Bye.